Welcome to Lisa and Michael Save the World. And we have, Lisa is mute today. She's not even speaking.
Earlier.
Today, she's
I think that's a subtle hint. He wants me to be mute today.
We have Joe LaMattina, who is an artist, a fellow artist, a fellow Bluefield artist.
Yes.
We have our have we ever spoken about the Bluefield artists?
We've had John Gilbert, and we've had Andrew Maisonette, who are also Bluefield artists.
Right.
Yeah, and now we're having Joe LaMattina, who is our guest today on Lisa and Michael Save the World.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
So good.
Round of applause. You know, the crowd is going crazy. You can't see it, but they're really going crazy. I know. It's okay. So anyway, as we normally do when we have a guest, we ask them our usual influence, art history, Arthole, and art history.
Yes.
We have them. That way, it makes the show very easy for us. We don't have to. We have to do anything.
We just show
Have to
up.
work.
We just show up, and we make them do all the work. So anyway, Joe,
Michael, Lisa.
Yay, he's here.
what should we start off with?
Let Joe call the shot.
Okay, what do you want to start off with?
Well, how about we're in Nyack,
Yeah.
right? We're in Nyack, so kind of Nyack-ish.
Yes.
So I guess in one of the questions I know that we're going to talk about is an influence.
Yes.
So just a quick backstory. So I used to be a printmaker.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was a printmaker.
Joe the printmaker.
Joe the printmaker.
Okay.
And look, Joe the printmaker. And so when I started painting, I started teaching at the high school, and I really picked up painting. When I transferred there, I thought I really need to know, a little bit more about my painting skills. And I never really had a painting class that I really remember from college. I guess maybe one, you had half, right?
Yeah.
But so I started painting and really kind of self-taught and so one of my influences at the time was one of your cohorts here from Nyack, and his name is Edward Hopper.
Oh.
Someone I actually know.
You know him?
Isn't that great?
Yeah, well,
Miracles happen.
I went easy on you, Mike.
Hopper House.
I went Hopper
House.
Right,
Yeah.
We love Opera House.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, so So he was one of the most important painters of the 19th century, 20th century, excuse me, and
One of those centuries.
It's a long time ago.
Sometime.
And so I don't know if he was really that much of an influence, but I was just really in love with his work, and I just saw a parallel with his work and my work. Number one being like solitary figures, right, and his subject matter was very everyday life. Yeah. And so not really knowing that much about him, I really just kind of tuned into his style of work and his ethics. And the solitary figures were a little bit more, I think, disconnected from each other. Right. And I kind of made the term frozen in time. Yeah. They're like frozen moments. Yeah. And so I kind of put him as my Dalai Lama there of the painting world. So but so he was my first real influence.
That's great.
Yeah. But I have to say,
Okay.
I was never really a big fan of the abstract art, or minimalist art. Okay. But as I got older, I had taken a class to the museum, one of the Museum of Modern Art, I think it was, and I saw a painting by the Spanish artist Antoni. I never pronounced it correctly. Tapies, who is a minimal artist, and I don't really have a great photograph straight, but look him up if you don't know him. Antonio Tapies.
I'll find one.
You'll find.
I will find one, and I'll show you.
All right, perfect.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
And
you have to tell me if you have a favorite one.
I don't really have a favorite one.
Okay.
I just love the whole, the aesthetics of his work. I guess I can explain to you by saying, if you put a piece of canvas down or a piece of wood and you threw concrete at it, and you just started scratching and slicing designs and lines. And, so it's just really
You're losing
concrete.
it.
I know.
You're
Concrete.
scratching.
Marble plaster, things that are not.
Maybe I'm gonna like it more than it sounds.
Yeah, if you like, I didn't really like it, but I found myself really drawn to that piece, and I kept going back and I kept looking at it, and I really learned, I think, from that first, my first encounter with the real piece, how much I love that, the simplicity of it. And I could look at a concrete wall, I could look at a piece of rusted metal, and I love it. So I try to incorporate that into my paintings now, like that look of really minimalism. I'm not getting there, I'm not quite there yet, but I'm working on it. But yeah.
Cool.
So he's really cool.
Okay.
So those were your influences.
Yeah.
Can
I go one more? Can I just say one more
Sure.
little shout out?
Little
shout out.
Okay.
All right. So following after at Top Yes, I worked with this woman, and one day she knew I was the art teacher, obviously. So she said to me, "Oh, my brother paints and blah blah blah." He was going for, I guess he was studying religion, and he had to take a painting class. Long story short, he became a painter, and he lives in New England. Has a beautiful barn. He's refurbished. I got a chance to meet him in one of his shows in New York. His name is Doug Trump, but no affiliation. Please, no affiliation.
He's an art.
He's an art, right.
Put a disclaimer.
Because there's
the band. There goes
because there's
no connection.
There's no artistic feeling in any of the Trumps. So yeah.
But you have to look at it. I actually have two. I bought little. I actually met him, and I always send him.
Is this his original work?
This is these are tiny little. I don't know if you can see them. They're tiny little pieces that are again really minimal and just really, they're just beautiful. His work is much larger, but these are three simple pieces.
I think I
really like these.
Yeah.
I think I like this one the most. I mean, I like them both, but this one is.
So look him up to that. Yeah, that one's nice.
Did you show it already?
No, it's hard to see with the glare.
Yeah, it's kind of
but he's been wonderful. He'll spend time. I watch some of his YouTubes. He's talking at different openings in New York and up in New England, and his work is just. I look at it and I know how he does it, but I can't do it. So, Doug, if you're watching, I love your stuff. But he's been so kind to send me those, and he'll talk if I send him an email.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah,
really
It's nice. We always say this when artists are nice to each other.
And share.
Be nice artists.
Share. We all share.
Yes. Look at us. I mean, we've built up this Bluefield artist group, and for the most part, it's
wonderful.
It's been wonderful.
It's been a good experience.
Because
I wouldn't change it.
We're artists and we're friends, and that's the way it should be, people.
Right, it should be.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, the sermon is over now.
Right, almost.
Yes.
So those are your influences.
Yeah.
You're done with the influences.
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay, you're sure.
Good.
Okay, those are very good.
Maybe even the best.
They were well. They're all good because we're all influenced by great stuff.
I really wish I could.
No, it's really true because we're all.
We all have our own story.
We all have exactly.
Right?
And I'm interested in hearing people's influences because half of them I don't know.
Right.
Well, you'll look them up and you'll get back to it.
Joe, go to LaMattina.com so you can see his work and maybe see some of how the influences have had an effect. Yeah, on some of your pieces.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
So now let's move on to.
Oh, I think we gotta do Arthole.
Okay, let's do Arthole. What's your Arthole? Who's your Arthole? Who's your Arthole?
All right, so I have I don't want to get shot down here being in Nyack.
It's all right. We like juicy gossip.
And also we're you don't have a loyalty to a location.
No.
Absolutely, I certainly don't.
So. I really had to think about this because I've watched all of your shows and I listened and I agree with a lot of what you said.
Okay.
But my conundrum here being in Nyack and just having said that Edward Hopper was one of my first influences, he also fits into the category of a-hole.
Oh wow!
I think I know why.
You know why?
I think.
I think the reason why is probably that could be a whole show unto itself.
Yeah.
But, so for those of you that don't know. And this has all been recorded. So this is not. I'm not making this kind of stuff up. But,
right.
So disclaimer again. I hear he was a real jerk. He married Josephine. I don't know what was her name. Josephine.
I see your notes. It's Josephine Nivison.
Nivison, right? And she was also which I didn't know until I really looked her up. She was also a very established painter, right?
Yeah,
for
she's
many
a
years.
talented artist. Yeah.
Very talented. Had her own career going.
Yeah.
And I remember reading this coming in my bald head as we speak. You know, her friends were really, they said the biggest mistake that she made was of marrying him.
Yeah.
And he was just really abusive. He made fun of her. He disparaged her. He just, you know, called her every name in the book. She lost all her friends. His friends didn't accept her. And she kind of put up, really, right?
Men can be douches.
Yeah,
and also, don't forget, during that time period, women, you know, did not have the same kind of levels of respect.
Exactly.
You know, we didn't have the same opportunities, and especially female artists back then were almost
females in general. So I'm coming to the rescue. So
you know, and I always think of like artists to be, you know, a little more. And we've found throughout some of the other episodes that it's not always true. Artists to be a little more open-minded in, you would think, in the sense of, you know, female. Right. I mean, I know that wasn't, you know, the norm back then, but some people I think were, you know, there were some guys that weren't. They weren't all jerks, douches. They all, you know.
But also the system was set up in a way that it really gave women the short end of the stick.
Right.
And that was like their choice, right? That was they were groomed to be wives.
Right.
But then obviously he took it like a little bit a step further instead of being. I mean, they both had something in common.
All I'm saying is like there was a very like fertile abusive structure in place in society,
and he took advantage of it.
Right. So that's why he falls into my a-hole.
That's a good.
It's been disappointing.
Right.
I did not know this.
And we talk about this. Where sometimes we have to separate the artist from the person in order to appreciate their work.
Exactly. And is that really fair? I mean, I love him as an artist.
Yeah.
You know, but I can't even when I look at his work today, I kind of, you know, I kind of know, you hear the backstory in my head. And I'm like, I love it. I love that piece. But then a-hole, you know.
Well, I guess we also have to like you said, you know, you also, you know, think about the time that we're like living in, that they were living in.
Yeah, but abuse is abuse.
No, I totally understand. But it was okay back then to slap your wife.
Well,
I mean that was
it was accepted.
It was accepted.
Would do nothing about it.
Yeah,
I know what you're saying.
There was,
That's what I'm saying. The structure of society was really
the woman did her job. She was the
wife.
To
abuse the woman. I mean, it was like almost like accepted. And
if you watch old movies, sometimes they'll say, you know, like you know, like you take a rod to her, and I'm like, wow, that's you know really
because you know
they were
women
second class.
Don't forget property. You know, for a long time, women didn't have the right to own property, and anything she did own when she got married was the property of the man and no longer hers. It was her husband's property. Okay, now I'm getting angry. Let's move on.
Before getting let's
all right. So the last
deep breath.
Yeah, that's the last thing.
Let it go.
The last thing we have is art history.
Yay!
Oh.
What are you going to teach us?
Well, I was actually going to show you the Tapier's painting and talk about that.
Okay. So
we can maybe if we show. I kind of melded them together.
Yeah, that's fine.
But because like some people, you know, like. I guess if we talk about that for 1 second, and then you could show a piece of the work. I just, you know, I wish I could just show you a really big painting of even Doug Trump. I mean, I have to just reiterate this because it's just so important for me. Like where I am, I just think seeing the work in person. You know, we talk about the incise lines and the texture, and I'm a textaholic. You know,
are, and you're
so
good.
Yeah, that's true.
So you have to really kind of see that and you know, touch it. And, you know, and some people get it. It took me a long while. It took me a really long time to really understand it because I didn't get it at the beginning either. I thought, you know, there's this. I remember I read a great quote, and I've been using that. And people will say, they'll see minimal art, you know, and they'll say, "Oh, anybody could do that. Oh, I could do that." And I always say, "Yeah, you could, but you didn't."
Yes.
You know, but you didn't do it. You didn't do it. You know.
Yeah.
Oh, I could do that. Well, do it then. No, I'm not saying it's hard or easy. Just do it if you want to do it. You know, I always say to people that's great. I always encourage people to do it.
There's a way of doing things, and sometimes you know, you look at something, you think, oh, that you know, but then you try to do it. Even as artists, sometimes I've seen things, and I'm like, oh, let me try, and I'm like, I don't know how they do that. You know,
if
everyone has
someone is a master at something, they make it look easy.
Right?
Yeah.
And you know what? And I used to tell my kids when I used to teach in high school, everyone has their own signature, their own handwriting.
Yeah.
You know, and even if I look at Doug Trump's work, which I just love. I love Doug every single one of your pieces. I swear, I really do. His aesthetic was like, it's just, and I just love every single piece. I love, and so when I try to, now I actually did one where I felt I was pretty successful in kind of getting the vibe, and I sent him a picture. He said, "Oh, he loved it. He thought it was really authentic. He loved it." And like I know how he does it. I think I have the vibe of where it's going, but I can't do it. Because you put your own handwriting as an artist, you put your own handwriting, your own signature into it. So even though I kind of like the vibe, and I try to kind of I'm not trying to copy it, but I try to go in that direction. As you look at this piece, that was one. That was a recent last piece, but I love the piece, but it got really super busy, and it's not anything to do with his work, right? Like I love the idea of his work. Well, this one I think kind of this. Who's this? I don't know.
That's true. Yeah, you have
This is Joe's painting.
This is another painting, but
I could see that. I could see the influence,
It's called
but then
Through the Looking Glass.
Through the Looking Glass.
Through the Looking Glass.
Look, you can see there.
I love it. It's beautiful.
You know what I like about that one? I think it kind of, and I play with these squiggles are really fun, like these black squiggles and just.
Well, that's kind of like what. That's where I see the influence.
Right.
With that. Mm-hmm.
And I see how he does it. He just does it like a totally different way. And even when I try to do it with a more linear, I just have more fun like playing with this loose paint and squiggles. So that piece actually kind of incorporates all the things: the printmaking, the squiggles, the texture.
I love this too.
Yeah.
Like this painting is joy to me. It's joyful. It's movement. It's just.
Thank you.
Place I want to be.
Yeah, I'm afraid of color. You can see, right? I don't
he hates color.
Hate color.
Hates color.
Don't go there. I'm not a beige person. Not that there's anything wrong with it.
I'm not either. Yeah.
I love beige, but it's like not in a painting.
No.
Usually.
Absolutely not. So.
This has been awesome.
This has been lots of fun.
Thank you.
Thank you so
for
much.
joining
Thank
us.
you for listening.
And hopefully everyone out there, if you have any comments, put in your comments, any questions for us, put in your questions. Go visit LaMattina.com. Check out his work. Check out the people that he mentioned today. Like, comment, subscribe, ring a bell, whatever it is on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, we're on.
Just join us.
We're all over. We're all over.
I'm humbled to be here. Thank you.
And look for more episodes.
Thank you. Yes.
See you next time.
See you. Thank you.